Hello and welcome back to the assembly video of home workstation with the components that I already presented in the previous video. Now we'll talk about how it went. Here I had to clean the CPU because it come in tray only. It didn't come in a box, so many people touch it and wanted to see how it looked like, probably, and it was a bit greasy, so I had to clean it, and I cannot recommend any other better way than isopropyl alcohol 100% concentration, because you want something that clean very well, evaporate very fast, and don't leave any residue on the surface. So this was the best, and is generally the best for cleaning electronics. So, and here is the motherboard. Here is the CPU socket. This motherboard proven to be a bit more complicated than usual one. Have 3 8-pin power connectors. This is the screwdriver, which was very useful and proven to be easy to set. With C on it you can basically confirm the torque that you set, and up and down buttons to change the value. Very easy to use and to set. Here I opened the CPU. I removed the cover layers for South Bridge and for MOSFETs, and I prepare to open the CPU socket to assemble the processor. It's useful to untighten, to rotate the screws until you hear a click when it's coming out from the nut, to be fully open, in order to be able to lift it up and to insert the CPU. Well, this is the slider, which I found it uncomfortable and pretty badly made, in my opinion. Here I used 1.5 Newton meter torque. I slide it in. What I found very uncomfortable and badly designed is this spring frame, let's call it like that, with the 2 blue pads on it. Actually the pads, it's supposed to be vertical. I mean, to be able to load and unload or close or open the spring easily. Instead you have to push pretty strong on against those pads to open the slider. So I think pretty bad. Here I tighten everything at 1.5 Newton meter around. Anyway, what is important, I consider important, is to first rotate the screws until 360 degree to match the nut, and to have a pre-fixation, let's say, and to have roughly the same starting point, and then you can tighten with the torque wrench. Well, this is the cooler, the Enermax LIQTECH. I was very surprised to hear and see most of the sellers have no idea the tier 4 cooler actually is the same as SP3. cooler, or vice versa. A lot of sellers didn't know. Actually, the screws and position, even the pins, are the same between TR4 or VRX4 or TRX4 socket and SP3 socket, because what it's different is basically the firmware and the programming behind the memory controller and the BIOS. That's all. Basically, if you rewrite the BIOS, if you are capable to write for yourself specific BIOS, you can use EPIC CPU in Threadripper motherboard, and vice versa. You can use Threadripper in SP3 socket without any issue. But seems this is not known by most of the sellers. They have no idea the cooler can be used also for SP3. Well, here I put the thermal paste. And what I can tell you is the CPU way of assembly is pretty rough. I would say it's pretty imprecise and not very, at least the fixation part, the slider with the cover are what is the most difficult. What was I found it as the most difficult one was the screw one to match the nut. You need to move it left and right until you will find the right position, and continuously tightening, rotating the screw. A lot of people were complaining about this. They cannot basically, after they pre-tighten the screw 2 and 3, they cannot tighten anymore the screw 1. Actually is not about not reaching the nut, the screw 1, or they cannot tighten. I think is due to the position, the very how to say, the screw 1 don't have a very precise position, and you need to move it to reach the nut, and that's why. Here are the memory. Is the Weimu, actually is Samsung controller inside. Samsung memory chips, the 64 DDR4 LRDIMM at 3200 MHz. For the screws from the cooler, I used also 1.5 Newton meter, and I recommend this torque because anyway you will have a good preload due to the springs. This will not come out easily. What I was also I need to mention, and why I was a bit disappointed by Enermax, it was because of the one punch hole from the bracket for Threadripper fixation, Threadripper socket. It was wrongly punched, and I had to correct it with a Dremel because it didn't match well the screws. I can say also this RAM is I know it's from AliExpress, that's true, but also yeah, it worked well. It is very stable, and I had no issues with it. I don't see the point paying a load of money for I don't know, just because I want to have some crucial or micron memory sticks. I don't care about the brand. I care about the functionality and the quality. And the quality of these memory sticks are very good, I can assure you. And it went well. It was not a problem. I had much more problems with the motherboard and with the CPU fixation. Shortly, what I can tell you about LRDIMM are 4 types of DDR4 RAM: unbuffered or normal DDR4 RAM, which basically rely on CPU for data error correction and using the memory controller for buffering, loading electrically the CPU and memory controller from motherboard. UDIMM can be plain normal or can have also some limited error correction. The second the second type of it would be RDIMM, which taking away the load from CPU because have error correction, but using the memory controller for buffering, so still loading electrically the memory controller, and it have a register for data transfer between DIMMs and CPU. And there are the LRDIMM, this type of RAM, which is called it's called shortly LRDIMM, but is load reduced dual inline memory, which basically is the most advanced DDR4 type of memory, which takes the load from CPU and from memory controller as well, having error correction and using buffers instead of register. So it using buffers for each memory chip on the DIMM PCB. That means basically taking away the buffering load from memory controller, reducing significantly the electrical charge on it, in the same time allowing large capacities. Basically from DDR4, this is the type of memory which allows the largest capacity. This is very best. This, I would say, this is probably the best memory DDR4 range regarding stability for the system, with no memory errors which can cause system crashes. What you need to know also is this type of memory is more power hungry than all others and gets very hot during load. This because basically taking the buffering into the DIMM stick. Here it went pretty well with fans for the Enermax cooling. It is pretty good quality. I hope will last, because I saw bad reviews, but I couldn't find any other TRX for cooler available on the market here, so, or at least one which can cover completely the CPU IHS, because that is what matters for me. Many IOs cold compatible, but they have a very small round cold plate which never offer the right cooling. If you any experienced adding a cold metal in partial contact with a very hot object and you observe the effect, you know what I'm talking about. Besides, the cooler have 5 years warranty with over 100k hours of functionality compared to other IOs which barely offer 50k hours. Most of them are around 40k, are between 40 and 50k. Here we have the Orico cooler. Be careful when you put the pad to be between SSD and the cooler, the bottom of the cooler. I mean on top of SSD, and when you insert, hold on the back, do not slide out the SSD accidentally. This is important. Here I found this case interesting. It's easy to assembly in it. Have pretty. Here is the Western Digital 6 Tera backup hard disk. And I didn't struggle too much with the wirings. It went pretty well. The cables for power supply and the connection was a bit of complexity. We had I had issues with identifying all the connectors on especially in the bottom right, the LED connectors for motherboard. That's all. Thank you.